So hello everyone, welcome to episode 10 of our Alpine F1 Manager Save. Now, we were a little bit despondent after this Grand Prix. The last Grand Prix on Thursday last week, Canada in Montreal. Charles Leclerc won the race from Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, and it was Alonso Stroll. And then we finished in P9. Esteban Ocon had an absolutely shocking day. He was down in P11. Yes, doesn't look shocking, but we're just sat around these places and we're struggling to bridge the gap to these top four teams. Now, we have got the underfloors on both cars now, so that should improve us hopefully a little bit. And I'm hoping Austria is going to be a better race for us. We have got around here 71 laps. It's a very short lap. Carlos Sainz holds the lap record around here. It's a sprint weekend as well. The expected strategy is a two-stop. We are thinking we may have to do something a little bit different with strategy to try and combat this monopoly on the top four teams have got. So that's something we're going to have a little look at. But just to bring you up to date with the standings, in terms of the constructors, Red Bull are 40 points in front of Ferrari as we start this new week here on the series. Aston Martin in P3, Mercedes P4, we are in P5. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen is leading by 39 points from Charles Leclerc. Checo Perez is in P3 and Carlos Sainz is in P4. It's a four-way fight for the driver standings. We're looking at the car development, the car analysis. If we have a look at the rank on the grid, this is the individual car. So high-speed cornering we are very, very good at. It's the acceleration really where we are struggling, and we are going to be taking steps to develop the car. But going into Season 2, that's when I would expect us to really be able to challenge these top four teams. But we may try something a little bit different on strategy this weekend if it's applicable. So a sprint weekend, double races, hopefully double entertainment. I'm going to get through practice and I'll see you in qualifying for the Austrian Grand Prix. So guys, end of Q2, we've had one run on soft compound tyres. Let's have a look and see how we get on here. Esteban Ocon is going to cross the line. Is it going to be enough to get him out of Q2? It certainly is, and Pierre Gasly is the other one now. He's had a better run, I would suspect, on this final run. Is he going to manage to get out of Q2 as well? Pierre Gasly crosses the line. He's up into P9. Great work from him. Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton are knocked out in Q2. We've had changeable weather conditions. A lot of guys setting their time on inters, but Gasly and Ocon are through into Q3. Verstappen is out. And here we are in Q3. This is the first laps in Q3, but it may be the most important ones because we've got rain coming towards the end of the session. Esteban Ocon crosses the line, and he's 3 tenths, nearly 4 tenths of a second behind Fernando Alonso. Where is Pierre Gasly? He's now coming on to cross the line. Pierre Gasly, can he out-qualify his teammate? Pierre Gasly does out-qualify his teammate by 200ths of a second. If we could get in front of the two Haas cars, that would be absolutely ideal. But as we can see, we've got rain coming very, very shortly for the rest of the session. So as we fast forward to see where we end up here, we are in front of the two Haas cars, and I would expect that's where we will finish up. And so there we have it, guys. Nothing changed. Checo Perez is on pole position for tomorrow's sprint race from Charles Leclerc. Lance Stroll in a high position of P3. Then comes Carlos Sainz, Alonso, Russell, Gasly in 7th and Ocon in 8th. 7th and 8th instead of 9th and 10th. Lovely to see. If we can hold on to that, obviously Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton will be charging through the pack. But I believe we have got a bit of rain for the sprint race as well. So let's get to the strategy screen for that. Right then, guys, P7 and P8. We've had a little look at the strategy screen. We know we're pretty decent with our tyre wear, so we're going to go for the soft compound tyre. Apparently, it's a second slower. I'm not quite buying that. And I think if we can keep in the DRS, that'll help protect us. So both cars in that mould at the start, both on the soft compound tyre. If we can keep P7 and P8, maybe gain a position, I would be absolutely delighted with that. So for the first race of this weekend even, let's get to the sprint race.
We're ready for 24 laps around the Red Bull ring in what should be a great sprint.
Drivers certainly don't shy away from overtaking on this circuit, meaning we should be in for a hotly contested competition here in Austria.
So then, it's time to see who wants that victory the most. Here in Austria, we're all ready to go for the sprint. And it's lights out and
And away we go, and it's got to be said, it is a very nice it's a very nice day in Austria today. We've not had that for the duration of this weekend, but straight away Esteban Ocon, there's going to be no team orders here. It must be said, there are no team orders. We are going to give ERS battle assist as well to both of them here. So there we go, both guys. We're going to hopefully run this out very well. But Checo Perez off the line is leading the way on the medium compounder tyre. Let's have a look at what tyres everybody's on. There is only us on the soft compounder tyre. Will that be a mistake? Who knows? But I reckon that we've got the pace to stick with these guys. Gasly already 8 tenths back from George Russell, but hopefully using a little bit of ERS to stay in the battle as well. But Pierre Gasly doing a decent job so far. Esteban Ocon is with his teammate, but Esteban Ocon is having to fight with Kevin Magnussen at this moment in time, which is not ideal. But if we can maintain P7 and 8, as we've said, as we come towards the end of lap 1, it's Perez from Leclerc, Sainz in P3, Stroll's lost a place on this first lap down to P4, Alonso P5, Russell P6, Gasly is in P7, DRS is enabled after the first lap, and as we can see, the guys behind us getting a bit punchy, but Gasly in front is doing okay. Lap 2, we're in a decent position. Lap 3, Pierre Gasly reporting minor ERS damage, and that is allowing his teammate Esteban Ocon to have a look at him here, and Esteban Ocon is past his teammate. There are no team orders today, so Gasly and Ocon have been told to go at it as they want to. But at the moment, on lap 3, Ocon has got the upper hand with Gasly getting that minor ERS damage. Disappointing for him. We're going to have a little look at that as we go into the race, the feature race on Sunday. At the front, Perez is just about holding off Charles Leclerc, but Carlos Sainz is losing ground. And Lance Stroll is looking like he's going to make a move on the Spanish driver up into turn 3. It's this hard braking zone, uphill of course. Difficult corner to get right, but Lance Stroll looks like he's just about got it right, and he now is up into P3. Meanwhile, Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly just going at it. There's no team orders, but my God, just keep it clean, boys, because a little touch here could have a dramatic effect on us for this weekend as a whole. So P7, P8 at the moment. Verstappen struggling to make progress at this moment in time. Verstappen is down in P13. Apparently replays not too much of a thing here in the sprint races, and Gasly is dropping like a stone at the moment. Kevin Magnussen's managed to get past Esteban Ocon, which is not ideal at all for us at this moment. Esteban Ocon just seems to have lost the pace again. These Haasers seem to have the pace on us, and it's so disappointing. But Esteban Ocon with DRS, I'm hoping he's going to be able to make a couple of positions back. Gasly really struggling with that ERS issue that he's got, and it's causing him to drop down the positions. He's now trying to latch onto the back of the charging Red Bull of Max Verstappen. Perez is still leading from Leclerc on lap 6. Sainz has brought it back. He's now back in the DRS range just of his teammate. Then comes Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso in P5. The two Haasers have jumped the two Alpines. And on lap 8, I didn't expect it to take too long, but Esteban Ocon has lost the position to Max Verstappen. He's charging back through. But Pierre Gasly is really struggling, down to P12 at this moment in time. Very difficult race for Pierre. On the tyre wear, we're not looking too bad. We're keeping pace with these medium runners, but we don't seem to have the pace in the races, which is really concerning. We seem to have a good qualifying car, but don't seem to have the pace in the races. But Ocon's still about, holding on to P10 at this moment in time. The Haasers are on for a couple of points here as well from the sprint race. So very interesting for them two guys. Gunter Steiner will be very happy in the Haas garage. Us on the Alpine pit wall, not so much. Well, we are getting some replays of crashes at least, and Lando Norris is the man who has gone off here. He's just spun into turn 1, gone careering into the barriers. Had some colourful language to mention as well, but Lando Norris is out of the sprint race, I believe. They are gutted in the McLaren garage. Not ideal for them at all. But Norris is out. Ocon still 10. Gasly and all the way down to P14. But looking after asking about his fellow competitor there, which is nice to see on the radio. Pierre will be very disappointed with today, but we've got a chance to make it up tomorrow at this moment. We'll come back when we're back to green flag running. Verstappen and Hamilton out of position has caused them to have to do some overtaking so far. Verstappen's now up to P7, but that looks about as good as it's going to get. Hülkenberg and Magnussen have been fighting with Verstappen, which has meant that Ocon is back in the game here at this moment in time. So Esteban Ocon in P10, looking punchy now and coming into it, and he's now got minor ERS damage as well. We may have to fit 2 new ERS power units for this weekend, I believe. We may take engine penalties as well, looking at it, especially for Pierre Gasly. We may give him a full fresh set of engine components going into this weekend, but we'll assess that after this sprint race. But Esteban Ocon is back in the fight with the 2 Haasers. He's got 4 seconds, the gap between him and Hamilton, with 8 laps to go, 7 laps to go. I can see Hamilton getting us here. We've had some contact, and it is involving Esteban Ocon with his favourite mercenary, the Haas. Mercenary adversary even, and that is a little bit naughty by Esteban Ocon. But I would suggest that he's possibly not the one at fault there. Let me know down in the comments. Who do you think was at fault for that incident there between Esteban and I believe it was Kevin Magnussen? Let's have a little look at who that was as we just have a look at proceedings. Yes, it was Kevin Magnussen. Esteban Ocon has got a damaged front wing, but I am tempted to leave him out at this moment in time, depending on how he goes on in the next couple of corners, because if we pit now, he's going to go all the way to the bike. And 6 more laps, we'll have to see. But Lewis Hamilton, he's really struggling into Esteban Ocon. Esteban Ocon is going to have to pit this lap. Lap 19, we've decided to retire the car. Esteban Ocon is out of the sprint race. Disaster for Esteban. More contact again. That's ruined his race today. But Esteban Ocon is retiring from this race. Pierre Gasly then up into P12. He's going to have to take a different ERS unit for Sunday. But at the moment, could he possibly get P11 and rescue this? Who knows? At the front, Charles Leclerc now is leading from Checo Perez, and Carlos Sainz is in P3, but the Aston Martin's having a good day in P4 and 5. 3 laps to go, and Pierre Gasly is all over the back of Yuki Tsunoda, and it must be said he's putting up a very good fight, Yuki Tsunoda. He ducks to the inside, Pierre Gasly, but he's going to get DRS down this start-finish straight. Let's see if he can overtake him here. Pulls to the inside early, DRS wide open, and Pierre Gasly into turn 1. Is he going to make the move? He's quite aggressive there, is Pierre Gasly, but he is going to get DRS all the way up towards turn 3, and Pierre Gasly up into P11. Few laps to go. If the feature race is anything like the sprint, it's going to be a very interesting weekend, because Nick De Vries this time now doing what Lando Norris did earlier, going careering into the barriers at turn 1. That has brought out a virtual safety car, and to be fair, we're now in P11. It's not the worst thing for Pierre Gasly. With a couple of laps to go, DRS is disabled and driving to a delta. This may benefit him. VSC is ending, but it's going to mean that we finish in formation. Leclerc's won from Carlos Sainz. It's a Ferrari 1-2 in the sprint. Perez in P3. Verstappen made it all the way back to P7. Hülkenberg P8. Hamilton P9. Albon P10. And Pierre Gasly under pressure still from Yuki Tsunoda, but it looks like he's just going to do enough to get P11. Gasly P11, Ocon retired. Let's have a look. God, this is going to be a busy strategy meeting for the feature race on Sunday. Right then, guys, so we're going to mix it up with the strategy. Esteban Ocon is taking some engine penalties, so he's going to be starting very much at the back of the grid, but it's a good opportunity to get some of those engine penalties out of the way. He's going to be starting on the hard compound tyre, running it for as long as he possibly can, and then going on to the mediums. Pierre Gasly is going to start on the soft compound tyre, then go early onto the mediums, and then go on to another set of mediums. I think that's going to be the best way forward for us. Try and get a little bit of an undercut in these areas here, and just try and see if we can do something from there. So P11, P19, let's get to 5 red lights for the Austrian Grand Prix.
Here among the Austrian mountains, the grid is now set for the 71 laps of the Red Bull Ring. There's a chance for Esteban Ocon to show what he can do here.
No one wants to start in P20, but that's the challenge they face today. Let's see what they've got.
But remember, anything can happen in Formula One. It's the race we've all been waiting for. It's the Austrian Grand Prix. And it's lights out
and away we go, and straight away Pierre Gasly, we are telling him to be aggressive. That's all we want to be. We're going to give him the battle assist as well. Both cars, be aggressive and try, and in fact Esteban doesn't need to be as aggressive, to be fair, early doors. He has got the opportunity to play this long and look after the tyres, but straight away Esteban Ocon has made a move up into P19. Pierre Gasly losing the position into P12. It's a car park at turn 3. What on earth is going on here? Charles Leclerc's led away from Checo Perez. Carlos Sainz has not had the best start, obviously finishing in the top 2 after the sprint race. So Carlos Sainz down to P3, Verstappen up into P4. He's made a belting start. Ocon versus Magnussen. These two are going to be absolutely sick of each other. Let's have a little look what's happened here. Esteban Ocon. I'll just have a little sneak up the inside there while you parked up. Kevin shoved him onto the side a little bit, and Esteban Ocon renews acquaintances with Kevin Magnussen. But Pierre Gasly's the man we're watching at this moment in time. He's currently a second behind already Yuki Tsunoda. What on earth is this man doing? Get deploying and get caught up with him, because we're going to start getting a bit more frustrated with our drivers if we keep having these sorts of performances. Nico Hülkenberg flying high in the Haas in P8 at this moment in time. Hamilton in P9, and Magnussen re-overtaking Esteban Ocon. Let's have a little look at this situation. Obviously, he's on the better tyres at this moment. Is Kevin Magnussen, and Magnussen getting it done through that double left-hander. Disappointing for Esteban. Not too good at all as we come towards the end of lap 1. We can see it is Leclerc still leading from Perez, but Pierre Gasly has been told to get a move on because he's losing DRS to Yuki Tsunoda, who's on the soft compound tyre as well. So work to be done for Pierre Gasly. Lap 4, we bring you back. Pierre Gasly has actually done rather well. He's managed to get away from Piastri. He's burnt a lot of bloody battery doing it, I can tell you that much. But Pierre Gasly is now in DRS of the 2 cars in front, and Piastri should fall away a little bit as well. And as these 2 guys are fighting, this is a view on board from Pierre Gasly, who's going to be able to fight with both of these cars in front of him. Meanwhile, Esteban Ocon on the hard compound tyre. We're just going to have a little look at this as Pierre's not getting close enough to make a move there. Getting past Zhou Guanyu, who's got the soft compound tyre on. So great work from him. You can see Kevin Magnussen in front. Really all over the back of, I believe that's Nick De Vries it is. So Nick De Vries under attack from K-Mag, but now Esteban Ocon a little bit more catching up to do now. 1.1 seconds the gap to K-Mag, but he's looking to bridge that and hopefully get back in the DRS of him. Meanwhile, Gasly having a right ding-dong battle now with Albon and Tsunoda in front of him. Pierre Gasly looks like he's up for this, and he's going to get DRS down the start-finish straight. So we're going to ride on board with Pierre Gasly. Checo Perez is leading the way, 0.7 of a second to Charles Leclerc. But let's have a look at what Pierre can do here. He pulls to the right-hand side. Will he be able to make a move here on either of the cars in front? It doesn't look like he can get close enough to him. Looks to have a dive down the inside. Doesn't quite do it. And now, how vulnerable will the Alpha Tauri of Yuki Tsunoda be as we go up towards turn 3? Albon looks like he may get him here. Tsunoda not going defensive, keeps his line, but it's a good move to be fair from Alexander Albon, who gets the move and gets the DRS down the next straight. And now Pierre Gasly, will he make a move here on on Yuki Tsunoda? Will he manage to get past him? He doesn't look like he will. He stays in P12, does Pierre Gasly on lap 5. And on lap 7, we enjoy watching these Ocon Magnussen battles. And Esteban Ocon, again, he's not giving him any room whatsoever. I don't think Esteban Ocon is a big fan of Kevin Magnussen in this series. Make your own judgment on that. But there's been a lot of little collisions between them. They've come together a few times, and Esteban Ocon now is in front of Kevin Magnussen. So great work from him. And he's also pulled out a second on K-Mag as well. On the hard compound tyre, we're going rather well. Whisper it quietly, but Esteban Ocon looking exceptionally competitive on the hard compound tyre. Pierre Gasly, maybe something to note. Lap 7. Pierre Gasly, baby, has just managed to get past Alexander Albon. Great work from him with the DRS. He's coming into his own a bit now. I don't know if it's the tyre warm-up on our car. That we seem to struggle early doors in stints, but he's done very well there, has Pierre Gasly. And I was hoping we were also going to get a look at when he overtook Yuki Tsunoda, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that look. Meanwhile, Esteban Ocon looks like he's just lost the position to Valtteri Bottas. But, in fairness to him, he still is on the hard compound tyre, and it is DRS assisted. So Esteban Ocon is not doing badly in this race at all, and it's giving me a lot of food for thought about what to possibly do with Esteban Ocon moving forward in terms of strategy. So Esteban Ocon latching onto the back of Bottas now. Remember, hard compound tyre going very long. And to be fair to him, towards the end of this race, a well-timed safety car would play very much into Esteban's hands. Lap 10. And Esteban Ocon is on the charge, unbelievably so here. He's now just managed to negotiate Oscar Piastri on the hard compound tyre. This is really interesting for us at this moment in time because Esteban now looking particularly quick on this hard compound tyre. If we just have a look at the last laps, for example, 109.3, 109.2. He's lapping exceptionally well on these hard compound tyres. He's lapping similarly to Hamilton and Stroll at this moment in time. So Esteban Ocon, brilliant pace in these hard compound tyres. We're actually considering with Pierre now maybe swapping him onto him and changing the strategy because of the information we're getting from Esteban. The gap from them two is around 7 seconds, so Ocon doing very, very well, lap 13. Gasly's tyres dying off a little bit here, and unfortunately the DRS of Alexander Albon is just proving too much, and he's managed to get past Pierre Gasly. Chucked it late down the inside, to be fair, into turn 3, then got the DRS on the exit. So good work from Alexander Albon. It was job done into that DRS zone. So he's in P11 at this moment in time, and just about hanging on to Alexander Albon. So just needs to keep his pace up a little bit here, does Pierre Gasly, just to ensure that he gets DRS down the next straight, which it looks like he's going to, so that's fine for him. Charles Leclerc's leading from Checo Perez. These two are exchanging places, as you can see here, with the DRS, as is Carlos Sainz. He's in this little battle as well with Max Verstappen, so it's a four-way fight for the win, just like it is for the championship. Fernando Alonso, not that too far back either on the soft compounder tyre. Gasly in P11 though, keeping in with it, and Esteban Ocon still at the moment possibly my driver of the day, lap 18. Lap 21, Hülkenberg and Albon have pit onto the hard compounder tyre. Pierre Gasly's been told to absolutely go for it now. Hammer time for Pierre Gasly, go for it, and we're going to be coming in a couple of laps time. Esteban Ocon just tickling up to the back of him lovely on this hard compound, managing the race beautifully, but Pierre Gasly will be in a couple of laps time. And on lap 23, in comes Pierre Gasly for his first stop of his two-stop strategy this weekend. We can see Esteban Ocon there on the right-hand side coming in for his pit stop, so let's have a look about where he's going to come out here. Is it a decent stop? It's not bad. It's 2.595. That's under 2.6. That's something that's blatantly obvious there. But there we go. We're happy with that. Let's see where Pierre Gasly comes out, and more importantly, where is Hülkenberg? Hülkenberg in P13, Magnussen P14. Where is Albon? Albon's coming around the corner, but Pierre Gasly is out and away. So we've managed to jump him by quite some distance. We're going to keep aggressive on the tyres, get that warm up, and chase after Nico Hülkenberg. So that's not bad at all. Remember, Magnussen and Albon. Magnussen's still on the mediums, but Albon on the hard compounder tyre, as is Hülkenberg. We're going medium towards the end, and the first one of the front runners, really, Max Verstappen, is in for his pit stop. His teammate already has pitted onto hard. We're using the mediums with Gasly. Will this prove a masterstroke? Who knows? Ocon up into P9. And at lap 26, his tyres are now fully up to temperature, and he's starting to make use of them. DRS enabled. He's past Oscar Piastri. He can see a couple of Williams in front of him as well. So Pierre Gasly on the mediums starting to make hay while the sun is shining. And we just have a little look at the interval. Gap to Sargent is 1.1, but in front of him now, he's got Sargent who hasn't pit yet. Neither has Esteban Ocon. So Gasly will be back up into the top two, but he could do with catching Hülkenberg pretty sharpish. Lap 26. And on lap 28, one thing that's not going to help Alexander Albon's weekend is doing this into turn 3. It's a difficult braking zone, as we've said, but he locks up that front right tyre. Possibly not got him up to temperature as much as he'd like, and then has to rejoin the circuit. So Alexander Albon, disappointing for him, someone who we were really praising earlier on in the race. We've got the Mercedes coming in now. I'm guessing these guys may be on a one-stop. The Mercedes, Russell in particular, is out onto the hard compounder tyre. That could be a one-stop. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc is on the soft compounder tyre now. A fresh set of softs for Charles Leclerc. I must admit, one thing I do like with this game this year is the variety in strategy, which makes it very interesting, and it makes it a bit more dynamic than last year's game. And obviously we're finding it a little bit harder. But if you remember last year with our Aston Martin the first year, we were languishing down in P15, P16. So this year we're doing a little bit better in the first season. And remember, by the end on season 4, we won the World Championship. Will we win it with Alpine? Who knows? But Esteban Ocon's having a great race so far here. Carlos Sainz is the last of the front runners to pit now. Will he be on the one-stop strategy? Let's have a little look here. Yeah, I would suggest he is now. He's onto the hard compounder tyre. Is Carlos Sainz. Where will he come out in relation to the guys around him? He's dropping down the order quite significantly. Is Carlos Sainz. Let's see where he comes out. I would probably hazard a guess. Where is Charles Leclerc? He's coming down the pit straight. Stroll is probably going to come out in front of Stroll. He's definitely going to come out in front of Stroll. So Carlos Sainz rejoins P5. Ocon now on the back of George Russell and getting a nice toe of DRS as well. So fantastic work from him. Gasly pressing on in P11. Pierre Gasly is on an absolute march on these medium compounder tyres. He's caught Nico Hülkenberg. He has passed Nico Hülkenberg. So fantastic work from him. It's great work from Pierre Gasly. We're enjoying watching our drivers today. We weren't enjoying them so much yesterday, but we're definitely enjoying it today. Esteban Ocon, PA, remember, only on a one stop. He could make a real impression in this race. On lap 32, Leclerc, 4.4 seconds is the gap between him and Perez, and he's battling with Fernando Alonso, who's got DRS here, and Fernando Alonso battling all the way down. We'll keep his eye on this. Fernando Alonso with DRS looks like he's got it done. Lap 32. Lewis Hamilton overtaking Esteban Ocon. That's not probably the biggest surprise of the day. But again, Lewis Hamilton may be on a two-stop. Who knows? So Esteban Ocon, if he can stick with him, maybe in the mix here. So pretty standard overtake with the DRS. Ocon now drops to P9 and Gasly is P10. If Gasly does catch him by the time Ocon's pitting, we will let him pass because they are on totally different strategies and running totally different races. Lap 35. Lap 42, Esteban Ocon is into the pit lane, and to be fair to Esteban Ocon, not only has he run a fantastic race for himself there, he also let Pierre Gasly pass. I must admit, I didn't have to do anything about it. They did it on their own, and he also held up Nico Hülkenberg a little bit. So fantastic work from Pierre. As long as he gets a decent pit stop, which my God he does, thank God. 2.55. Fantastic. That again is below 2.6, as we know. So Esteban Ocon is now out in P13 on a fresh set of medium compound tyres, with a lot of cars in front of him that have got to pit. So it's very interesting to see now what Esteban Ocon can do from this position. Pierre Gasly, we're going to keep an eye on this. Remember, he's going to get the chance again to go on some medium compounds at the end. He's been decent on these tyres. I would expect a decent points paying position for Pierre Gasly today. Possibly even, I would suggest we can beat Hülkenberg. It might be P9, but I'd take that. The interesting one is going to be Esteban Ocon and where he ends up. Lap 43, Verstappen leads from Perez, then Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, 10 seconds back from the other guys. And Esteban Ocon, he's got his tyres up to temperature, and he makes a very much a big dive on Alexander Albon. Fantastic work there into turn one. Both of them get DRS. It's a drag race up towards turn 3. But Esteban Ocon, he keeps it to the inside. It cuts off just as we go towards turn 3. Not ideal there, but Esteban Ocon is well in this for some points. Pierre Gasly, pit window is open. We are monitoring it now accordingly. We are expecting him to stop in a couple of laps' time, but we are considering if we can get him out in some decent clean air, and we are expecting an undercut and letting him absolutely go for it. So lap 46, Pierre coming in very short. And on lap 48, Pierre Gasly is in to the pits. Now, Esteban Ocon, I've got a funny feeling, may have jumped his teammate here. This is going to be very interesting at this moment in time. Pierre Gasly, right, is coming in now. Let's have a look. Is it a decent stop? Please let it be a decent stop. It is 2.574. They've all been sub 2.6 pit stops today, which has been very nice to see. And we've had no clinical errors, which has been very good indeed. So Pierre Gasly, where is he going to come out in relation to Esteban Ocon? Ocon's coming around the final corner, but Gasly is out in front of him. So Pierre Gasly now should have the pace on these tyres. Esteban Ocon will be told, because his tyres are going to take a little bit longer to sort of get towards the end, he's going to now be told, don't attack your teammate. So on lap 49, both our cars made the pit stops, and a lot of cars in front yet to do so. Something we've not seen so far this season. Pierre Gasly, new fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and Pierre now is really being told, don't fight your teammate. So yeah, Pierre Gasly doing a fantastic job there. Getting past him, getting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. We've used the DRS, he's got the tyres to do it now. Esteban Ocon can just go a bit lighter on his tyres towards the end. Verstappen promptly says, hold on a minute, we're not having an Alpine having fastest lap, so he's got past him. But it's going to be very interesting how far Hülkenberg is behind. If we have a look at the last laps, it's a 106.1, a 107.458 for Ocon, 109.4. We're lapping nearly 2 to 3 seconds quicker than Hülkenberg. I think we've got the strategy spot on here. Lap 52, Perez is leading, but Verstappen's made his pit stop. Lap 50, and Checo, Perez, it's not ideal at all. We've had pit stop issues so far this season, but Checo Perez has just had one here. I don't know quite what's gone wrong there, but it's a long pit stop for the Red Bull guys. Not something you would expect, and Checo Perez is going to suffer for that, and Perez is come back out in P5. He's going to be very disappointed with that. Hulkenberg pitting now. Let's just speed this on a little bit and see where he comes out in relation to the two Alpine cars who have absolutely breezed past him, it must be said. Nico Hulkenberg into the pits, gets a decent pit stop, but it's not going to be enough. We are well up the road. And Pierre Gasly now, do we let them fight? I think there's no reason now not to let them fight. So Gasly and Ocon, basically fight between yourselves, but keep it clean. Lap 58, the two Mercs have pit, and the two Mercs are now battling with the Alpines. Gasly going head-to-head with George Russell. George Russell actually gets it done as he gets... oh, he doesn't get it done, sorry. Pierre Gasly manages to hold him off, but Russell does get it done into the next corner. Again, we're not getting the best replays here, but Esteban Ocon's now been told again, always defend, always attack, just go for it, Esteban. Because he's now got Lewis Hamilton behind him. We're looking at Pierre Gasly, who's enjoying himself as well. He's going to be told that you are also allowed to attack and defend here very aggressively, because we reckon we can possibly beat a Mercedes here with one of our two cars. They're both on the soft compounder tyre. It's going to be harder for Ocon, but he may as well give Lewis Hamilton a tough afternoon. And look at Pierre Gasly defending here from George Russell down the start-finish straight. It's aggressive defending, but it's bloody beautiful to watch, and we're enjoying this one today. We had a little bit of a dour end to last week, but we're having a very positive start to this week. Pierre Gasly in P7 saying to George Russell, you're going to have to get past me, and you're going to have to work very bloody hard to do so, son. And just as we said that, Esteban Ocon unfortunately couldn't hold off Lewis Hamilton any longer. Didn't expect him to, in all fairness, but Lewis Hamilton there, getting past him. Ocon still giving him a bloody good go, but Lewis Hamilton does get DRS down the next straight, and I think that's probably going to be the end of that. Meanwhile, Ocon is still battling though, still battling with Lewis Hamilton, and Pierre Gasly, unfortunately, has lost a position to George Russell. Let's have a little look at this. How sad is that, ladies and gents? Give it another few races, give it another season, and we're going to be beating these guys. We're going to be beating Toto Wolff's boys. Maybe one of them might even be driving for us. But to be fair to George Russell, round the outside, he's got more grip on that soft compounder tyre, and he does get past us for P8. Lap 59, it's Verstappen's to lose. And unfortunately, we aren't going to beat a Mercedes today, because Lewis Hamilton is caught Pierre Gasly. We just aren't a match for the Mercedes. But it were nice to be in front of him for a little while on merit and on strategy. So fair play to Lewis Hamilton, gets it done into turn 3. And then Pierre Gasly still not quite letting it ride here. He's still going to get DRS towards the end of this lap. We do just have to be a little bit careful on the fuel with both our guys, but he's gone, Annie. Lewis Hamilton has disappeared into the distance, and now we will just tell our guys to just keep it clean and just fight between themselves towards the end of this Grand Prix. 10 laps to go, and it's P9 and P10. Didn't expect that when you tuned in today, did you? And we're not going to quite get a replay, but on lap 63, Esteban Ocon is probably saying merci beaucoup. See, not only do you get quick maths on this series, you also get a bit of French and foreign languages here. But Pierre Gasly had a right moment coming into the final corner, went off track, and Esteban Ocon just drove past him beautifully. So look at this peak confidence from Esteban Ocon. He is absolutely loving life. Gasly's on medium after that little mistake he's just made. But Esteban Ocon, absolutely in dreamland here. He's gone from the back of the grid to P9. Food for thought, I think, going forward. Unless anything dramatic happens now, it should be P9 and 10. But it's been an exciting P9 and 10. So, ladies and gentlemen, last lap of the Grand Prix, and we're going to keep an eye on this battle here between Alonso and Perez. Verstappen's got it won. 6 seconds from Charles Leclerc in P2. Sainz is in P3, but it's Alonso in P4 versus Checo Perez in P5, who's had a very difficult afternoon with that pit stop. It really knocked him back a little bit. Perez dives up the inside of Alonso. Alonso on the hard, Perez on the softs. But they're very worn softs at this moment in time. And who is going to get 4th place here? It's job done for the Alpine boys. It's P9 and P10 for Ocon and Gasly. But let's ride on board from Fernando's point of view on the visor cam, and he's right up the gearbox of Checo Perez. Will he be able to make a move in this final sector and get past the Mexican? It's going to be a very interesting battle towards the end, but Checo Perez looks like at this moment in time he's possibly got it won, unless Fernando Alonso can get him on the final straight. There's not much of a straight to get him, but he will get DRS. Have those tyres. Has that Aston Martin got anything else left in the tank? It doesn't look like it has. It's Perez P4, it's Alonso P5, and more importantly, it's Ocon P9. And let's give a bit of a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to Esteban Ocon. He had a shocking sprint race, but my word, as he made up for it today. We'll just speed it on a little bit here as he comes around the final sector. Yes, he got a bit of help with Esteban Ocon, but with Pierre Gasly running wide. But Esteban Ocon, he's gone from the back of the grid up to P9. He's got some more points for the team, and he will enjoy that. Fantastic work for Esteban Ocon. Let's just have a listen to his race engineer here.
P9, well done, well managed. Absolutely, good job.
And he's very much enjoyed that. We did find some fighting spirit. Esteban is right, and he must admit he needed that after Saturday's sprint race. So let's get to the point.
And after the checkered flag has flown, there's Nico Hülkenberg. Well, Max Verstappen can add yet another podium to his already impressive record.
6 wins now in this season, they're not flagging. A mighty impressive victory.
Well, there were mountains to overcome here in Austria, but those three managed to climb to the top.
Max Verstappen leading the way. We are very used to seeing that here on the channel, but the two Ferrari boys once again on the podium make it another good day for Ferrari. So Max Verstappen gaining 6 positions. Remember, got knocked out in Q2 on Saturday, so it's Friday even with a sprint weekend. So Max Verstappen doing exceptionally well to win that. Credit where it is due. Leclerc P2, Sainz P3, both dropping a position off the starting grid. Checo Perez in P4, Alonso P5, Stroll P6, Hamilton and Russell. Disappointing that we couldn't quite manage to get in front of one of them guys. It would have been lovely if we could. Remember, Esteban Ocon starting at the bike, finishing in P9, driver of the day. Of that, there is no doubt. And Pierre Gasly briefly had the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Driver standings-wise, Max Verstappen leads the way still. It's back up to 40 points now for Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc in P2 and Sainz P3. Perez will be fuming with the Red Bull pit crew. Esteban Ocon re-overtakes Pierre Gasly, but they are, to be fair, both dead set on 15 points, which means if you add that up, we're on 30 points in P5. We are looking like we can cement this P5 in the championship. Mercedes in P4, Aston Martin P3, and then Red Bull gap is 36 points to Ferrari, only gaining 3 points on them this weekend due to that Checo Perez issue. I hope you've enjoyed that. I must admit, after Thursday, we're a little bit down, but I think we've come back and showed some fighting spirit there. That is fantastic to see. Esteban Ocon was the French Rocky Balboa, and we will go again on Thursday. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you then. Ta-ra!